Hey, I'm Dave, and welcome to another episode of Dying to Listen Workshop Edition. If you're listening audioly, you might want to listen or watch videoly, if that's even a word. Uh, but we're going to be trying a new format here with the Dying to Listen podcast. We're going to have guest Dyers come on and actually teach me how to do one of their signature specific methods. And this is going to be more of a longer form content. So I'm going to be asking a lot of questions, and we're going to go pretty in depth on this tutorial. And hopefully this answers any of the questions that you may have on a specific technique, so you'd be able to reproduce it. And hopefully, if anything, it gives you some ideas and the courage to actually try this method, because most of the stuff that we're going to be doing here, I'm going to be doing for the first time. And I'm really excited. And for our first guest that we're going to be trying this out with is Austin from Dyers by Red. Hi, Austin.
Hey, how you doing, Dave?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. A little snowed in here. It's a nice snowy day. It's a perfect day to do some disc dyeing.
Fantastic. So, what method are we going to be doing today?
We are going to be doing the original lazy wave method using my lotion mixture. This is something I developed about 5 years ago, just on a whim with some leftover lotion dyes. It's a method that I see a lot of people kind of struggle with, and I'm hoping to create some more resources to help some people out. And I've always been interested on doing a one-on-one live teaching process with someone, so I'm very excited for this.
Yeah, so you're going to teach me. We'll see how that goes. But also, you plan on offering the services of one-on-one consultation down the road as well?
Yeah, so if anyone's interested in the future, you can reach out to me, and it'll be something just like we're doing here. I'm gonna offer coaching one-on-one via video, and I'll walk you through step by step. All you gotta do is buy all the products, and I can coach you step by step, making sure you get your mixing right, you get the consistency of your lotion mixture right, which is something I think a lot of people struggle with, and something that may not be shown clearly in my previous tutorials. So I'm thinking if I can coach someone in real time, it might have a higher success rate than some of my tutorials. So I'm excited to offer that to people in the future.
So what you're saying is I'm your test subject.
Yeah, pretty much.
um, I'm honestly really curious to see how this is going to go, because I've watched your videos. I haven't specifically tried it,
Mhm.
but I'm hoping this one will bring clarity to how you do it, because again, this is going to be a really, really in-depth tutorial. So it's not something that you want to just skim over. You're going to kind of want to watch in depth. And I'm going to be asking probably a lot of stupid questions
Okay.
for me to understand, as well as potential people watching this, of why you do what you do. And the thing that fascinates me is the first question I have is, how did you even come up with this mixture? And how did you end up on this? And what made you get this specific consistency, and why?
It was something like so when I started out my first year of dyeing, I started out like a lot of new disc dyers. I was doing every single method I could get my hands on, which usually when you're starting out is, shaving cream, spin dyes, glue beds with acetone, and lotion dyes. So I had all the supplies all over the place, and I was trying different things. I didn't really lock on to one particular method. And there was one day I had like 4 or 5 bottles of lotion dye that was getting kind of old, and I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't want to just pour everything down the drain, so I took my leftover lotion bottles, laid down a bed of glue. Again, I don't know why. I just did it, and I was like, okay. The first thing that came to mind was laying down these lines of lotion, and I looked at it and I was like, oh, let's manipulate it with, a paintbrush. And I got the lazy wave design. It looked really cool. The disc came out looking pretty cool, and I had never seen anything like that before, so I decided to try it again. And it kind of was just like every time I attempted it, I perfected the mix. So my first lazy wave came out looking a lot like how my lazy waves look now, but on the second attempt, they came out kind of square looking. It wasn't like a wave; it was like a block. And after that batch, um, I kind of diagnosed that my lotion mixture was too thick. So that got my wheels spinning in my head that, hey, I need to thin the consistency out. And I think that's when I added Floetrol to it as well. And once I did that, like the waves got more wavy. So I improved my mix there. And I was like, okay, I need to thin the mixture out. The Floetrol helped the lines like lay flat on the bed to eliminate some of the air bubbles. It was kind of just one thing after another. Like, okay, I tried this bed, and then the next one didn't look like it, so I had to tweak a thing here, tweak a thing there. It was just like you know, learning after every single bed that I did until I landed on this formula that I've stuck with for like 5 years now.
So, yeah, I
Trial
remember
and error. To some TLDR, trial and error.
lots of trial and error. And I remember when I was doing lotion beds, my thought was, everybody says to use Queen Helene's because it's the queen, but I always thought it was just too thick. And thinning it out makes sense. And I like how you're scrappy and want to waste money, so you just mix what you had to start out with. So I guess, what ingredients do people need to actually do this?
So I'm going to look at your screen here because it looks like you got everything laid out nicely here.
Yeah.
First and foremost is lotion. You're going to need lotion. And what I like to tell people is you can just go with straight up Queen Helene. That's how I started. But through my trial and error and trying different lotions, I also incorporated the Suave, which Dave has in his other hand. So I have 2 different kinds of cocoa butter. And through this trial and error, like, I didn't like using all Queen Helene and I didn't like using all Suave. So one day I got the idea to mix them 50-50 in a bowl, and that consistency is the best I've come across for the money. So I'm blending 2 different kinds of lotion. Again, you can use one or the other. You're not going to fail just by using one or the other. So we want to start with lotion. You also want Floetrol. We're going to use about an ounce of this in our mix. And what I found with the Floetrol is that it helps the lines. When you lay them out, it's going to help them lay flat on the bed. What I found is when you use just lotion, sometimes your lines will have this little curve to them, and the Floetrol is going to help the lines lay flat. So when you lay the disc in, it's going to lay flat and have minimal air bubbles.
So a quick question. Have you tried thinning out the lotion mixture more to try to get the lines to lay flat, or did that just not work?
I have not. So a lot of this stuff, like I said earlier, is, like I tried it, it worked, and I've kind of just been doing it, for years upon years. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is something, like with, our Dyers Guild community Facebook page, if someone wants to try it without the Floetrol and it does work, maybe try it, share your results, and you may teach me something. I might read that and be like, damn, guess we don't need Floetrol at all. Mm-hmm. But in my opinion, I adding the ounce of Floetrol helps the overall consistency. I like using the Floetrol, and it's only an ounce. You buy one of those gallon jugs, you're not using a whole lot of it.
Yeah.
And then for the bed, we're going to be using clear glue. And this is a question I get a lot, is why aren't you using lotion as the bed. And what I always say is you absolutely can use lotion, but I don't have the exact figures memorized, but like when I priced out like the price of each bed, using a bed of lotion is actually more expensive than using a bed of glue. So it's cheaper. And I also think when you see us manipulate the lines, the bed of clear glue like kind of gives this liquidy bed that like lets the lotion kind of float on top of it in a particular way. It's you'll see when we get to it, but it's cheaper, and I think it allows the waves to get wavy, I guess.
So again, it's your scrappiness that I think made or caused inventions and stuff to happen, because I would never think to put clear glue than lotion on top. I don't know why.
And I see it a lot of time on like the Dyers pages, like, oh, like why do people do this? And like sometimes like I don't even, it's like I said, like I tried something 5 years ago, it worked, and I kept doing it. But I think what most people will understand is that it's cheaper. If you're getting your gallons of glue for like $13 or $14, it is cheaper per bed to use clear glue versus quinoline or whatever lotion, unless maybe you get like really, really cheap dollar store lotion.
So a question I have is, do you reuse anything at all?
Unfortunately, that's another question I get a lot, and there's no reuse. Once you pull the disc out in the bed, I mean, you could maybe there's someone out there that can blend it and get it back to like a useful consistency, and they can find a use for it, but I have not. I've tried to use the leftover lotion and glue mixture as a bed for lazy waves, but the consistency is kind of weird with like the dye, glue, lotion. Like I haven't found a use for it yet, but maybe someone could.
Gotcha. All right.
Other ingredients. So those are the main ingredients. We're also going to need our dye, obviously, whether that's Pro Chemical and Dye, Disc Dye, or iDye Poly. I personally use both. There's certain shades that I like PCAD more. There's certain shades that I like iDye Poly for. But you're going to need your dye, preferably powdered dye. I get a lot of questions like, can I use RIT synthetic? I have tried it before with so-so success, but like we always say, in the guild, like if you want to go all the way, get yourself the good powdered dyes.
Yeah, no, I highly recommend Pro Chemical and Dye as well. And what colors are we going to be using today?
So today we're going to start off with, in my opinion, the easiest and also my favorite color scheme for the Lazy Wave dye. We're going to be using bright blue from Pro Chemical and Dye, as well as Caribbean blue from Pro Chemical and Dye. It's going to be a darker, bolder shade in the bright blue, and then a lighter shade with the Caribbean blue. And then also you could say we're using white as a color. So it's going to be, I try to go 3 colors at least for every Lazy Wave. So we're going to do light blue, dark blue, and then white as a color. But what you'll see later is white is going to be the absence of color. There's not like a white dye that exists or is even possible. So those are going to be our 3 colors.
2 questions. 1, why did you pick those colors? And 2, have you noticed any other colors that you used act differently because it's a different color, like a different consistency or stuff like that?
Yes, so there are some colors on my no-go list as far as Lazy Waves. And that's like a personal my goal with my Lazy Wave dyes is minimal or 0 bleeding. We want, here, let me get an example real quick. So these are a couple older discs, but this is what we're going to be going for here: the blue, light blue, and white. And like I was saying, my goal with the Lazy Wave is minimal or zero bleeding. So with certain colors, they have a tendency to spread out and bleed in the dye bed, and a lot of like the neon shades, like neon sea rise pink, neon hot orange, neon key lime, shades like that have a tendency to bleed in the final product. So those are a few that are on my like no use list for the Lazy Wave dyes.
So
Caribbean blue.
when you say bleed, do you mean like not defined hard edges?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Like I wouldn't want like this blue. Again, this is old, so it's a little hard to see. I wouldn't want this blue. See how there's a defined wave line there? I wouldn't want that to bleed out into the white. I want it crisp and as defined as possible. And there are certain shades that, for whatever reason, bleed almost every single time. So Caribbean blue and bright blue are on my confirmed, like they are like non-bleeders. And this is also my favorite, like this is my personal favorite Lazy Wave color scheme. The two blues and then like the green rim. And then it's also, I think it's the easiest to start out on. Like I see a lot of people on their first Lazy Wave, their first attempt, they're very ambitious and they mix up like 8 or 9 different colors and you get a lot of bleeds. There's just a lot of room for error. So I like to recommend this as like a first attempt. If you're going to attempt this for the first time, it's 2 colors and white. So these colors are confirmed non-bleeders, and you're only mixing up 2 colors.
Yeah,
so it's a beginner.
Makes sense. Besides the neon colors, offhand, do you remember any other specific colors that are on your no-go list?
It would be the ones I mentioned. Neon royal purple too. I think the only neon color that I have success with is neon lemon zest. Is all good. That's one of my favorite shades to work with. And then I would say I think teal, Pro Chemical and Dye teal is also kind of tricky. And again, these shades, I'm only speaking in terms of the Lazy Wave dye. These colors are great to use in other dye methods, whether it's lotion painting or whatever. Again, this is just a part of the learning process, trial and error. You know, I don't want to speak ill of the neon shades. Just for this method, they don't work great.
Yeah. I feel like neon colors can be finicky at times, but can look cool. How many colors have you done at once with a Lazy Wave?
I think there was one time I think I did every shade. So Roy G. Biv. So that's 7 colors, red, orange, yellow, yada, yada. I did all 7 shades, and then I did another 7 of like different Pro Chemical shades. So I would do like fire red and blood red, like clear orange, and then like a custom orange, sun yellow, neon yellow. I did that for one bed, I think. That was the most. So like 14 shades, I think I did in one bed.
How did it turn out?
I think it turned out pretty good. I'll have to dig up the picture. I think I can find it and maybe send it to you. But I'm personally like, part of me is like almost like less is more when it comes to colors and also manipulation. I think that's a very common beginners. I don't want to say beginner's mistake. I don't like using the word mistake, but like you have a tendency like, I want to use 100 colors and I want to manipulate this and manipulate that and spin it around, twist it around and throw it up in the air. Like, I like to keep it relatively simple. Especially with the Lazy Wave, I probably keep it to 6 or 7 colors maximum.
Yeah. I when I do the classes, I recommend no more than 3 colors because one, if you don't really know your color theory, you can start getting some ugly brown colors.
Yeah.
Start mixing and again, less is more sometimes.
And when you manipulate a lot too, like especially as the disc ages, like the finer details kind of get lost in the dye, like as the dye ages, so you got to know when to stop.
Yeah. All right. So what else do we need here?
You're going to need something to stir your dyes with. I usually buy like a box of 500 of these off of Amazon, but I'm looking to replace these maybe with like a silicone stirrer in the future. But if you have some of these on hand, these work great for stirring, and you're going to want a cup to stir in.
Which
You can use plastic cups if you have them on hand, but if you end up getting serious, I recommend spending the money on reusable cups or glasses to stir in. I like glasses because you can see if there's like a clump of dye stuck to the side or stuck to the bottom. So you can look all around and make sure everything's stirred in properly.
let me grab my glasses because I forgot to grab those.
That's like another cost-cutting thing. Anything that you can use that's reusable is going to reduce cost in the long run. And if you're doing this as a business, it's going to increase your profit of your final dye.
Yeah. So I'm going to be using these plastic cups, and don't really have to worry about the plastic type because we're not using any harsh chemicals in here like acetone. But I just want to note, if you do use acetone, be careful of what plastic cups you get. Make sure you get either HDPE, which is high density polypropylene, or PP, which is polypropylene, so the acetone or whatever harsher mixture doesn't melt the plastic.
Yeah.
Ask me how I know.
Yep, same. That was I definitely made that mistake in my first handful of months dyeing. Acetone right through the cup, on the table, on the floor.
Yeah.
It happens.
All right.
I think the last thing we're going to need is plastic bottles.
Okay.
And I get these. I have like probably like 40 of these that I got from Walmart. They used to be like $1. And I actually went to Walmart yesterday, and they're a little more expensive. They're like $2 or $3 now. And my Walmart, they had flowers all over them. But I mean, whatever. You could probably find them on Amazon, or do you sell them on the website at all, Dave?
The 4-ounce squeeze bottles we do. Oops. So they're a little bit smaller than what we're going to be using, but I do have the 4-ounce squeeze bottles available on the Dyers Guild website.
The 4-ounce probably do in a pinch. I like using, I think these are 12-ounce bottles. I recommend 12 ounces at least, which you'll see later on in the video when we lay out our white base. It usually takes around about 8 ounces once you get really good at it. So I would recommend at least 8 to 10 ounces for your bottles if you want to get serious about lazy wave dyes. And then you'll need a manipulation tool to make the waves. I usually use just the end of a paintbrush, something about that size. I would recommend something like this over a toothpick. When you get too thin, the lines don't, it doesn't look as good with something like really, really thin. You want something about the size of a average paintbrush. And you'll need some water as well to help thin out your dyes as you're mixing them. And lastly, this is optional, but I recommend it. So this is a Lazy Wave life hack here. This is a plastic mixing bowl and whisk, which I will be showing Dave in the first part of the video. If you're gearing up to mix, like 5-6 colors, and then you need like your white base, you're going to be using 2 to 3 bottles of lotion, and you're going to want to thin the lotion out And what I like to do is pre-thin it out and pre-mix everything in a bowl. So that way you're not stirring a bunch in your cups and spilling crap everywhere. I like to knock out the thinning portion out before I mix any of the dyes. So cheap plastic bowl, cheap whisk, Walmart, Amazon, wherever you buy your goods. And I think that's it. I don't think I missed anything. Hopefully not.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Other things that I personally have is, so I usually get the Floetrol in the gallons, and if it's new, it's not a horrible issue. But if you have used Floetrol, you may get some boogers in there. And I do
Yes.
make and sell the Floetrol screening cap. And if you don't want to buy this or don't have it, Mr. Red, I think put a little. What did you put over yours?
Yeah, so this is just like a piece of like spandex cloth. You can get like from like Tights or something. And I've just attached it to the top of my jug with some miniature rubber bands. And so when you're using your Floetrol, shake it up, and when you squeeze it through this, it'll make sure none of those nasty Floetrol boogers come out.
Yeah, the boogers can be annoying because there's just like little chunks of boogers that ruin the consistency.
Yep.
The other thing that I also have is for water, I just have a pan that I have heated up on my hot plate here, and I have some syringes so I can syringe it out to whatever we need to do. And last thing, well, two things. I do have a measuring spoon and a little scraper.
Yes.
I have a 1 teaspoon. I don't know what you have or recommend.
I usually just use my stirring sticks, and for each color, it's probably around half a teaspoon, maybe a little bit more for lighter shades like Caribbean.
Okay. Then obviously we have our disc.
Oh, how could I forget?
Last but not least,
Oh yeah,
the bed container. So
yes.
what I have is a larger frisbee disc. That's like an ultimate disc that I got at Walmart. And the black one, what's that one that you use?
So I usually use a Discraft Ultrastar Ultimate Frisbee, just because I like the wider diameter, which we'll see later in the video. If you lay out your bed and let's say you make a mistake over here, you still have room to drop your disc maybe a little more up here to, you know, it just gives you room to decide where you want to lay your bed, your disc down exactly. You know, like maybe this corner looks a little bit better, this corner looks a little sloppier. You have some room to decide. But a 9-inch cake pan will work just as good. But with the 9-inch cake pan, you know, it's like you don't have that option. It's going to be, you know, your disc is going to fit exactly inside the cake pan. You don't have the choice to kind of move the disc around a little bit, but it'll work. It'll work just fine.
So looking at your setup, it also made me think, do I need some sort of towel to be laid down on my surface?
So yes, that is another very important item. You want towels, and I always recommend buying buy reusable towels. Like, don't use up roll after roll of paper towels if you don't have to. I also bought these at Walmart. You buy like 10 in a pack. They're like less than $10. Buy a whole mess of these. They'll save your life. And then also, like you said, the towel to lay down on your workstation is also smart because this does get pretty messy.
I say that, and that reminded me because I watched your videos, and when you lay down the stripes, you kind of overshoot the beds potentially sometimes.
Yes. It's intentional, or like you need like some momentum when you're laying out the lines. At least I do, at least. And so yeah, you're gonna want like some kind of mat to lay down underneath your disc just in case that happens. If you're doing this on like a nice table or whatever, you don't want to get lotion dye all over it. I recommend having a mat underneath your bed.
All right. Okay. I think that's all the stuff that you need.
I think so.
All right. Well, let's get into the meat and potatoes and show me what I need to do.
All right, I'm going to move this tripod over to my kitchen for the lotion mixing. So just be a second. So first things first, we're going to pre-thin out our lotion. So we're going to start. Let's start with the Queen Helene first. Crack that bottle open. And just dump the whole thing into your bowl.
The entire
it's gonna
bottle.
Make the entire bottle.
Okay.
It's gonna make some hilarious noises.
God, I feel like I need to do some ASMR.
Right? And then there's a great, you can just, this is the motion I usually use to get the last little bits out. Take some force.
What I've done, if you ever have used ketchup or stuff or in Wisconsin ranch, what I do is I just yeet it.
Okay.
To get all the stuff to the very bottom. Just make sure your lid is closed.
Yeah. Okay. See, I'm learning a thing or two.
Huh. I've never.
Yours looks really thin.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, this is probably like 3 years old.
Oh, you got like the old formula.
Yeah. But it's good because we can compare notes of like whatever you get, there's a specific consistency that you want to hit regardless.
Yes, yeah. And that's part of why I started using the two different brands. The Suave's usually thicker, the Queen Helene's a little thinner, and you'll see when we mix them together, it makes a nice little final product. And then I usually this is optional. I don't know if you'll need it because yours was so thin, but I'll run the sink for a second and get like some hot water and just kind of add a little to the bottle. Shake it up and get every last little bit out of there. Excuse me. All right. Oh, nice. I was wondering how you were going to do this without a sink by you.
Yeah, I got the little syringe, and I'm maybe hesitant to put more water in there if you think it's really thin.
Yours looked pretty thin, so maybe dump a little bit out of that bottle in there. Don't do the whole thing.
Oh, you missed it. I opened it up.
I saw it.
And it just splooged all over me. So that's also another good tip is if you heat anything up, make sure you have the lid open.
Smart.
Especially like if you heat up acetone dye mixtures or anything like that, because heat makes things expand.
Yeah, science.
Yes.
Just give that a little bit of water, a little bit more. You're good.
We'll go from there.
All right. And so now we've got our lotion in there and you got a little water on top, right?
Mm-hmm.
So take your whisk and we're just going to whisk that water in to the lotion.
So with whisking, do you have any concerns of introducing unwanted air bubbles?
Nope. It'll look kind of like there are, but it's no cause for concern.
Okay.
And I mix this. I pre-mix this lotion like I mix my lotion dyes. It's a lot of like, I don't like when I see people like throw everything into a cup and then mix, or everything into a bowl and mix. I like periodic mixing. I think, I don't want to fill this thing to the top with lotion and then put water on top and try to mix, 6 pounds of lotion and water. So
Yeah.
I'd like to do everything like incrementally.
Okay. So how is this looking for consistency? I mean, I don't know what view
Yeah,
you
hold
have
up.
up there, but
Yeah, it's looking good. Your lotion definitely your Queen Olene's definitely a lot thinner than mine,
okay.
but it's looking good. Let's go ahead and crack open our next bottle of Suave, and you can just lay the pump to the side somewhere. And I always like to say the best part of working with lotion dyes, if you make a mess, just moisturize a little bit. It's cold outside, your hands are dry, you spill a little bit, you just get moisturized. So let's take our bottle and add that. We're adding the whole bottle.
The entire thing. Okay, that's pretty easy, I guess. Just one of one.
Yep. Again, ASMR, hilarious noises if your camera's picking that up.
This definitely seems a lot thicker.
Okay, good. That'll help you with how thin your Queen Olene was. There it is. Comedy. And once we're gonna do the same thing with this bottle. Add some before you put the pump back in.
I'm just trying to.
We're gonna. Oh yeah, there you go. Eat it.
I feel like still a lot in there.
Yep.
Yeah, this is like way thicker.
Yep.
Oh God. Everything everywhere.
And then once you get all that out, we're gonna add the warm water to the bottle to get all the last little bits out, just like you did the Queen Olene.
Right.
So get your syringe. I'll get my sink going.
It's like you said, working with lotion is nice because if you make a mess, you just rub it in yourself.
Yep.
Oh God.
Oh. All right. So once you get your hot water in there, shake it up. Because lotion keeps getting more and more expensive, and you don't want to waste it. I know personally with the Suave brand, they so this is 28 ounces, and I think you get it for like a little under $6. It used to be 32 ounces, and I swear it was like $5.
Yeah.
But they slapped a fancy new label on it and charged you more.
Yeah, I picked this up last night and it was like $5.
That's good. I recommend Walmart for your lotions. They're going to be a little cheaper than your average store. I do not recommend, I don't know if I said this earlier, do not go to the dollar store.
Okay.
Dollar store brands will cause you way more problems than it's worth.
Interesting, because that's the first type of lotion I use because obviously it's cheaper.
You could use it for like lotion painting or something like that, but for the lazy wave, I only tried it one time. I went and bought a bunch from the dollar store, and I don't know, just it was chunky, it was weird. Sometimes you want to spend a little extra money for better quality.
Okay.
All right, so we've got our lotion in there with some more water, and we're going to whisk it up again.
So I got to pour my water in. I wasn't paying attention of how much water you had.
Oh, it's maybe like a sixth of the bottle, just like enough to get in there and shake it and get all the lotion loose from the sides.
All right.
Yeah, that looks good. Whisk it up. And let me know how you're consistent. Like, is it looking a little better than the super thin Queen Aline?
It's looking a bit thicker, and it's going to take a bit to homogenize both lotions.
Yep. Give your arm a little workout, get those muscles going.
And luckily, I have just a big enough bowl. I think it's literally the same as yours.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Let's see, I'm going to zoom in on your. Yeah, there we go. Now I can see yours a little better. All right. And once it's all mixed up, go ahead and hold that up to the camera just so I can see what we're working with here as far as consistency.
Yeah. I'm going to grab a larger measuring spoon because I feel like doing some sort of spoon test would be helpful.
Yep.
Let me mix up just a little bit more here.
Just from what I can see, you're looking pretty good. It's like thin, but not too thin. It's not too thick. I always try to I want to say it's almost like cake batter. Almost.
I feel like it's slightly thinner than pudding.
Yeah, okay, yep. All right, now, let's do a drip test. Yeah, okay. I think you're good. And again, we're going to tweak this consistency in the jars. The goal of this is to just pre-thin stuff out so we're not doing it in the jar.
Okay.
And I'm going to add I'm a little thicker than you, so I'm going to add some water to mine. But I think yours is good.
I feel like it might be a smidge thick.
I think yours is going to be fine.
Okay.
I think yours is looking good. All right. And mine's looking good. So we've got our lotion mixture pre-thinned out. I'm going to go ahead and move my camera back to the table. What are you using to get your lotion from the bowl to your cup?
I don't know. What am I using?
So I have this little measuring cup. I don't measure with it. It's just you just need something to scoop the lotion into your mixing cup. Like a big spoon or...
So what I got is some littler plastic cups.
That'll work.
Hopefully scoop something in there. Okay.
Might be a little messy, but yeah, that's why I have this little cup with a handle. But again, it's lotion. Use it as an opportunity to moisturize.
All right.
All right. So you got your dye, you got your scooper, you got your lotion. All right. So now we're going to get into the mixing of the colors, our Caribbean blue and our bright blue. We'll start with the Caribbean blue. Dave with the big flex, the big jars.
Because I have sample packs. If you need 1 teaspoon sample packs of dye, I got you.
DyersGuild.co.
This is correct.
Right. /ref/13.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll start with our Caribbean. And you said you have a teaspoon scooper?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you can see, I'm just using one of these. And that's about 1 scoop. 2 scoops. What do you think that is? Half a teaspoon ish? 3/4?
Well, I put 2 teaspoons in. I feel like more dye necessarily won't hurt.
At that, I don't know.
I mean,
maybe take.
this is what we got in
See.
here.
I think that'll be fine.
Yeah. Looks
I would
about the
go,
same as yours.
especially since it's Caribbean. I like kind of almost double up on mine. I
Yeah.
would say with your bright blue, maybe you can go like a little lighter on the bright blue.
Okay.
So in our other cup, let's crack open our bright blue.
So why
And
do
yeah,
you
if you
put the
can-
dye in first?
I put the dye in first because we're going to add warm water to properly, what do I want to say? Like
Dissolve?
properly mix the dye. Like I want all the granules to be like worked in with water, which is going to make it easier to stir when we add our lotion. Like if you go, like if you put the lotion in first and then you put a bunch of powder on top, you're going to be stirring forever.
Okay.
The order of operations for me is an effort to make the stirring easier.
Gotcha. And that's the way that I recommend for almost nearly all the mixtures that I do as well. So cool.
No disrespect to anyone that does like, the bottle shaking method, but I don't recommend it. Like, I still have this wacky idea for a video I want to make one day. I want to call it like the cake method. Like when mixing your dye, adding all your ingredients to a bottle and shaking them. Like imagine if you were making a cake and like you put your eggs, your flour, you put all your ingredients into a bowl and just like shook it. It's going to be like a weird looking cake probably. So that's like the kind of how I think about mixing my dye is like, you're making a cake. Like you put your eggs in, you put your flour in, you mix a little bit, you do it incrementally.
Mhm.
It adds to a smoother, more concise mixture.
So speaking of baking, have you ever added anything in your mixtures to make it thicker, like flour or baking powder, or something like that?
So no, not the items you mentioned, but what I like to do, because there have been times where I've gone too crazy with the pre-mixing and my mixture's been too thin. What I recommend is keeping one of those bottles of Suave unused because it's the thicker lotion. So if you go a little too thin, just pump a little bit of the Suave into your cup and thicken it up a little bit.
Okay.
It's only happened to me a couple times, but it does happen.
Okay.
But I've heard people like say, yeah, like flour or cornstarch or whatever. Like I don't know if that works or not. I would recommend like adding a medium that you're already using maybe to thicken it up.
All right.
All right, so we got our powdered dye in our cups. I'm actually going to add a little bit more bright blue in mine. We're going to take our warm water that we got here, and we're going to add, I don't know, maybe like an ounce, a half an ounce, just enough to like cover the powder. So if you look on my camera, we're just adding a squirt to each. Not a whole lot, just enough to cover the dye. And warm water, I just feel works better. If you're using ice cold water, it doesn't. I feel like warm water helps the dye get mixed in a little easier than cold. And there's people that say that warm water like activates the dye.
Mhm.
Dave, do you have any insight on that?
Yeah, I mean, the science behind it, not necessarily sure, but the warm does help activate it or dissolve it better, more thoroughly and faster, from what I see.
And that's why I've heard with acetone dyes too, like sometimes you add like a little bit of warm water to help mix everything in.
Mhm.
All right, so we got our water in. Just give it a little twirl. Make sure you get all those chunks in. Sometimes it won't necessarily be perfect. Sometimes you'll see some chunks still kind of sticking to the bottom, but you just want to do your best effort to move stuff around and get most of that powder diluted into the water. So you're kind of just left with liquid dye almost. Like it's just like water and dye.
All right. I may have put a little too much water in the Caribbean, but that's fine, I guess.
I think you'll be fine. Because like I'm going to be adding water to my lotion incrementally as we're mixing, so you might just have to add less than me. Like this is a method that's it's gonna take multiple attempts for you to really understand what consistency you're shooting for. Like after doing this 1,000 times, I know like, okay, I need to add this much water, or I don't need to add any water. You know, like after you see the end product, like it'll kind of click.
As far as consistency, I remember that was a big thing that I was trying to, how can I easily and scientifically show and get that? One, there's actually like a professional device that you can get to measure viscosity of liquids.
Yeah.
Two, there was also another way, a homemade way to easily determine the viscosity of liquids, which they reminded me I got to find that again, and I might send that to you so you can test the viscosity of your mixes.
That would be a great idea. The only thing, like I usually say like a paint-like consistency, like and when I say paint, there's a lot of things that I say in my original tutorials where I'm like, okay, that's a little confusing. Like I almost want to redo all my tutorials. But in the original one, I say a paint-like consistency. A lot of paints have different consistencies. When I'm thinking paint, I'm thinking like the paint you'd use to paint your walls.
Yeah.
Almost like I almost want to find a liquid that everyone uses and everyone can relate to. To describe it. And then we go the scientific route with you and like lock it down scientifically. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, again, I remember I was looking at a way for anybody to test viscosity with the stuff that they have at their home, and it was like super, super simple.
Okay.
But I got to figure out what that is.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to figure that out.
Yeah. All right.
So we got our water and our dye. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to come in with some Floetrol. We're only going to use about an ounce. So almost the same amount as we used like with water, an ounce. And, you know, if you have a cup, you know, or one of these bottles, an ounce is like, I don't know if you can see, it's like half of one of these lines. It's really not that much. It's like this much.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if I could show that there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's like,
is it that first line?
Yeah, it's like a finger's width of that wide.
Yep. Yeah. And like, if you're using a bot, like, I don't measure out an ounce. You know, like it's like things don't need to be like.
And you don't like baking.
Well, with like cooking, you know, like I always describe it as like when you see a real cook in a kitchen, they're not measuring shit, dude. Yeah. Like, you know, like it's like a feel, like it's, you know, like if you, let's say we're adding salt to something, like if you're adding like a pinch and you add like a little over a pinch or a little under a pinch, it's not going to make that much difference. You want to just like get it close, you know?
Yeah.
So with my bottles, I usually just go like 1 Mississippi, done. 1 Mississippi. It's about an ounce.
Okay.
That actually might be a little less, you know?
I don't have it in the bottles.
Perfect.
So we'll do that.
And perfect.
All right.
And again, like I need to do more research on Floetrol, but like when I look online of like what is the purpose of Floetrol, Like right here on the bottle, it says improves flow and leveling. And that's kind of what it does for our purposes on with the lazy wave method. It's like gonna improve leveling in the final result. We want, like, if you look at one of my beds before you dip the disc in, it's almost completely flat.
Mhm.
And one of the main questions I get is how do you prevent bubbles? And it's like they're not, most times, like, they're not really bubbles, they're ridges in your lines that create air pockets. So
Yeah, I guess it makes me think that Floetrol is, because it's used in paint, and I feel like it's the same consistency as paint, like same viscosity. So there has to be some other ingredient or additive in there that helps it level.
there's some science going on.
Uh,
We need to research that. Maybe
are we done with the Floetrol? Or are we going to use it again?
we're donezo. That's
All
all
right.
you need.
Well, I'm going to put the cap back on so I don't get any weird boogers.
No boogers. We're gonna mix in the Floetrol. So just take your stir, mix the Floetrol in, and once you stir this, like, your dyes should be fully incorporated by this point. It should be completely mixed in. There shouldn't be any chunks.
So I realized I should have had a little bit longer stirring stick, but
This is the learning process.
today I learn.
Oh.
And I don't know if it makes a huge difference, but some dye has a lot of static charge to it, and these are plastic cups, and some of the powder dye is still stuck to the edge of the cup.
Oh, well, when you pour the lotion in, it should get incorporated into it.
Okay.
And once we get that mixed in, we're going to start incrementally adding lotion. So we'll start with the Caribbean.
So now the colors look very similar. And
the Caribbean's going to have a lighter shade to it. The bright's going to it's going to be slightly darker.
Like, it's hard to tell, but yeah.
It's hard to see on the screen, but I feel like the Caribbean is the one you have, right there.
Yeah.
It looked a little lighter. And for this method, like, we're going to be using the two colors equally, so you don't really need to know which is which. But for future reference, if you're mixing a bunch, it might be a good idea to label them with like a little sticker or piece of tape on the side of your glass. All right, so we're going to take take some of our lotion here, and we're going to add this incrementally. Like, I don't want to fill lotion up to the top and then start mixing, because then if it's too thick, then we have no room to work with as far as water, and then you're mixing and then crap's spilling over the edge. So we're going to add, you'll see, I'm only going to add, like, not even up to halfway some of our lotion.
So that was good to watch you pour it in, because that kind of gave me an idea of like what the actual consistency is right now.
You could see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you need to periodically mix your vat of mix at all, or is it pretty much good to go?
It's good to go.
Okay.
You won't need to remix in the bowl.
I didn't know if like the water starts to separate out over time when you're doing this.
Not over the amount of time that we're going to be mixing. Maybe if you let it sit out for a day, maybe, but over the course of an hour, you're all good. All right.
Yeah, so the consistency does look like yours, from what I could tell.
Good. Yeah, it's, from what I can see, it looks pretty good on your end. Let's mix that up.
Do you ever use gloves or find need to use gloves?
I've gotten really good at this to the point where I rarely get any on my hands. If I do, it's usually just a little bit and I just wipe it off really quick. But if you're a newer dyer and you're worried about that, I recommend gloves. Is there any danger, like as far as like chemicals go, or is it just worry that you're going to stain your hands?
Uh, th- Technically both, because I know on ProChem they have keep out of reach of pet and children label warning.
Yeah.
Obviously, the dye isn't necessarily good for you if you ingest it.
Yeah, but like if I got a little bit of this lotion dye on my hands, is it?
It depends who you ask. I mean, I've gotten acetone dye on my hands so much right now. So yeah.
Yeah, gloves if you want them. Like I said, I'm usually pretty good. I don't get a lot on my hands, but yeah, if you're worried about that, buy a box of gloves. Definitely recommend that. If that's a concern.
I think
Okay.
I have larger wooden things that I'm going to grab. So found some giant wooden sticks that should be a little bit better, maybe.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Where do you even find those?
I think I got these at Walmart, honestly.
Nice.
The craft section had it.
Very nice.
Because these little ones, they ain't cutting it. I mean,
Yep.
they are, but it's too small.
Oh, yeah, I can see now. Yeah, they're like skinny too.
Yeah. All right. This. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, get that. There we go.
I can actually like scrape the edges and get all in there.
Yep.
All right. Cool.
Now, if you can, I want to do a consistency check. I want to try and see where you're at consistency wise. If you could do like a drip test.
What camera?
I would maybe
at the top down or me?
I'm top down.
Top down.
Now I would maybe move your lotion just in case you don't want to spill in there. Okay. Yeah, it's a little hard to see, but it looks a little on the thin side. Am I right?
It is a bit.
One more time.
Yeah,
that almost looks like what we're shooting for as an end result. It's a little hard to tell on my end, but would you say it's on the thin side?
I would say it's thinner than the lotion that I put in there.
Okay. Then I think I'm on the thicker side, if you can see.
Yeah, it's definitely not as thick as that.
Yeah. So this is the tricky part. So you're like kind of on the right track. I'm a little bit thicker. So this is where I would come in with my hot water and add some. I don't think you need any water at this point, but I'm going to need some. And this is where I start doing like consistency math in my head. I'm like, okay, this is too thin, but I also need to add lotion. So like, I don't know, it's kind of weird. Like I want to add water to where this is too thin so I can add more lotion to get it correct.
Mm-hmm.
So I added more water. Now I'm too thin, but it's okay because I have to add more lotion. Okay. And I would recommend you add some more lotion as well, probably about the same amount as you did before. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna add some.
Yeah, now it's more of a consistency of like a premium latex home paint.
Okay.
Maybe slightly thinner, but yeah.
Go ahead and get it mixed and give me another peek at your consistency.
Because when you do that, when you lift it up and let it drip on the top, I can kind of see that it kind of pools on top.
Yeah, so the drip test, I want the final consistency. It's going to make a line and then kind of sink back to flat like in a second or two. That's like kind of the drip test that I do. See, I'm a little too thick, but I'm getting close.
So yeah, I would say mine is probably just slightly thinner than that.
Okay, slightly thinner than mine.
Yeah.
I think that's, hold it up to the camera. You might be right where you need to be.
Focus.
There you go. Yeah, I think you're there. How many ounces are in your cup, would you say?
Probably 3, 4.
Okay, we might want to. That'll probably be enough for one bed, but I would like to make more just in case, you got to do a second take. You know what I mean?
You don't trust me?
I trust you, but
no.
For the sake of time.
Now that I kind of understand what the consistency is, I can more easily hit that.
Okay, yeah. So if you could do that, get enough for a decently full bottle. I would say a full bottle is around 10 ounces. 8 will probably do it because again, we're only doing one disc. You're going to have some extra to work with, but just for the sake of the tutorial, we'll make a full bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And then, hey, maybe after the video, you might want to make another bed. You'll have some left over. But I do recommend, like, the problem with this consistency and making too much dye, for the lazy wave, like once these bottles sit for 5-6 days, they're going to thicken up a bit and your lazy waves are going to start looking a little blocky. That's why I try to recommend, it's so hard for newer people, but I try to recommend don't over mix your dyes. Don't make 10 discs worth of dye. Like once you get good, like if you're dyeing 2 discs, try to make 2 discs worth of dye so you don't have a bunch left over. And that's a mistake I made a lot when I started out, and that's a common mistake I see for people. They're like, hey, I mixed 12 colors and I've got 12-ounce bottles all full. And then they try to use those bottles a month later, and it doesn't work exactly like it works when it's fresh. That's like, the lazy wave method's a little frustrating when it comes to that. Like, you're really striving for this thin consistency, and when they sit on the shelf for a couple weeks, I don't want to say they become unusable, but it doesn't work the same way as it's going to work fresh.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my point. TLDR, try to mix what you need for that day and mix fresh, fresh ingredients, fresh dye, fresh results. All right. So how are you looking over there? Better ingredients, better pizza. Lazy Wade.
Yes. All right.
All right. I'm checking you out over on my other screen here.
It's kind of hard to show.
Yeah. Maybe just like a skosh thinner, and I think you're there.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I really got to figure out that viscosity thing because I feel like once you physically do it and understand it, you can hit it better, but it's like trying to get it that first time.
Yeah, like you might need a scientific measurement to get you there that first time, and yeah, I think that's a great idea. Let's see
Okay.
if I can see on this camera.
Okay.
I don't know if you can tell, but like the lines kind of hit the fluid and then disappear within a second or two into flat.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Is that kind of how yours is looking?
Yep. I think we're good.
Sweet. And if you've got, around 8 ounces or so, we can sit that to the side and do our bright blue.
Right.
And yep, just go for it.
How did you determine how much dye to put in this mixture?
Just kind of just kind of did it. I know like you have the measurements in like the Dyers Guild boxes, and I know Pro Chemical and Dye has their own measurement for various designs. I mean, I don't think I even had those resources when I started. It was just like, I don't know, like add a scoop, not too little, not too much, and then look at your end result. If your end result is vibrant and has enough color, then you used enough. I really don't think you need more than a teaspoon for 10 ounces of dye. I'm probably using a little less than a teaspoon.
Yeah, which I didn't necessarily find kind of fascinating, because for Floetrol, I think I recommend for every 4 ounces you put a teaspoon of dye.
Interesting. And I think for Floetrol, I do about the same amount, probably a little under a teaspoon for. Yeah, for Floetrol, I think I mix usually 4 to 6 ounces at a time. I'm not doing like full bottles of Floetrol.
Have you had any issues where you didn't mix it thoroughly and you had like some non-mixed lotion still in there?
Maybe when I started out, like there hasn't been a time that I can definitively remember. I've always been like super hyper focused on mixing things thoroughly, so maybe there was a time 5 or 6 years ago, but nothing recently that I can recall, because I'm just like always very focused on mixing things thoroughly.
Gotcha.
But I could see that being a problem though if you don't mix well enough.
Yeah, like I'm trying
How
to
you looking?
scrape the edge to make sure nothing stuck to there or any excess dye, but
With like adding the water and Floetrol first, you should have gotten most of it mixed in, aside from like the static cling you were talking about. And yeah, like what you did right there is very smart too. Like once you get that first consistency down, you can keep that to the side and compare this color with your first color, and that's what we're shooting for. And I think that's where a lot of people mess up in the beginner stages. Is say you're mixing 5 colors, and like your yellow's super thick and your pink's super runny, and then your blue's kind of in the middle, and when you put them side by side and manipulate them, that's like what's going to end up causing bleeds. We want everything to be as close to the same consistency as possible so they all intermingle and get along together.
We don't want any fighting.
No fighting in the bed.
Yeah, I can see, I had the concern of whisking to introduce air bubbles, but it's just so thin that the air doesn't even necessarily want to stay in the mixture.
Yeah, and when you're mixing in the cup, excuse me, when you're mixing in the cup, you might see some little air bubbles in there, but it's nothing that's going to cause the big bubbles that you see in final products. Like when you see, I don't want to say people messing up their beds, but you see these big white spots. It's not usually because of the air bubbles in the dye. It's usually because, like I said before, the valleys in between the lines causing air pockets.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's kind of a bubble, but it depends on your definition.
All right. I think I'm good with both.
All right. So we can set our colors to the side, and our final mixing is going to be our base layer of white, the quote-unquote white dye. And this is another, one of the top 5 questions I get is, what is the white stuff you put down? Is it just Floetrol? What it is it's the lotion mixture that we just made without any dye in it. So we're going to repeat what we just did, but with no dye.
Okay.
And I need to make a video that shows why I do this, but essentially the gist of it is if we lay down our bed of clear glue and you lay down a line of blue just on the clear glue, the dye will kind of spread out into the glue and create this muddiness on both sides of the line. So the white layer is to just act as a barrier. So when you lay that line down, it's just the line, no spread.
Okay.
You'll kind of see when we do it. So we're going to get another cup. I would recommend for you, I would try to make at least 10 to 12 ounces of this.
Okay.
So you got your cup ready. We're going to do an ounce of Floetrol again.
I got ahead of myself. You said we were done. Okay.
You can add it on top of the lotion. It's no worries.
Okay.
You didn't add that much in there. It's not really that big of a deal. Just about an ounce.
All right.
And then I usually add a splash of water, maybe another ounce, and mix that together. You make kind of like a Floetrol slurry. And you could probably get away with not using Floetrol in this, but in my head, I'm I want the ingredients of the base to be like the colors. So I haven't scientifically tested if it's necessary or not. It's just something I've always done.
Well, the question that I was going to ask is, have you tried thicker or thinner consistencies compared to the dye to see if that makes a difference? For example, if you have the base a bit thicker, does that make the other dyes float on top, or vice versa? If you have this white base super thin, is the thicker, heavier dye color one's going to sink?
That's a great question. So for our white base, we're going to go for slightly thicker than the dye.
Okay.
And again, that was a great question. And I haven't tested that per se, but in my mind, I don't want this to be thinner than the lines, because in my head, that might cause the lines to sink beneath it, So I shoot for slightly thicker on my base color.
Makes sense.
And for this application, we are doing a white base, but if you watch a lot of my videos, sometimes I do a colored background. So for that application, you would just in place of the white, you would just make more colored lotion. Like we could do 2 blue lines on a pink background or a yellow background or something.
I can see having some sort of handled scoop would be better than just a straight up cup.
Yeah. So yeah, I recommend handled scoop for. I mean, you could even use like a spoon or something. You can get creative, but yeah, like without that, I can see getting a little messy. And again, we're going for a slightly thicker consistency here, so.
I gotta grab me some more water.
Cool.
So I can already tell you why I haven't tried this already. Pretty labor intensive.
I always like to say it's like the one of the highest learning curves, the most labor intensive. You can't reuse it, you know. But the results speak for themselves, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's art at the end of the day, you know. Sometimes like some art's cheaper and easier, and some art's more difficult, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It just all depends on what you're trying to do. All right, I think mine's looking good here. Slightly more thick in my
Have
colors.
you tried using something else besides water? I say like isopropyl alcohol, denatured alcohol, or even acetone.
So in the beginning, when I first started, I was adding acetone to it, and I was also using worm dip. So I would use like, let's say, iodide poly red, and then I was using like red worm dip as well. Part of that's like the acetone, the idea that acetone is going to make it more vibrant, and then also multiple colors of red, making a unique shade, which is something I still do today. I like making unique shades. So yeah, I used to add acetone. I don't think it's necessary.
Okay.
And maybe like it might come out slightly more vibrant, but I don't know. Like when you see a well done lazy wave in person, in my opinion, it's as vibrant as it needs to be and as vibrant as it's gonna get.
Mm-hmm.
And what I like to tell people, I think I told you this yesterday. A lot of people will say like, "Hey, my lazy wave is kind of dull. Do I need color intensifier? Do I need acetone to something to boost my vibrancy?" And what I always try to say is, heat, in my opinion, is the most important thing for vibrancy.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to be adding all these chemicals and all this extra stuff. I think you need to mix your dyes well. I think you need to execute the dye bed well, and I think you need it heated properly. And that's going to do everything you would need as far as vibrancy and saturation. That's in. I don't think acetone's the answer for this particular method.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was just curious if you tried it because obviously, yeah, and I feel like using acetone would be way harder to get consistency because acetone likes to evaporate really fast.
That this might be experiment, you know, like water versus denatured versus acetone, like 3 lazy waves side by side. I would love to dip my toe into something like that. If anyone wants to donate money to science, I personally don't have the funds to, you know, do these big experiments. I would love to. If anyone wants to commission a scientific experiment, I will drop my Venmo in the comments.
How about this? You come up to the compound, we'll do a bunch of videos.
Okay. I like that.
There you go.
I got some ideas. I know you got some too, so we might need to make that happen.
Absolutely. Like, I'll provide everything you need.
Okay.
All right. So
How is our white base looking?
Boy, it's kind of
Would you say that's slightly thicker?
Can I put it in the shadow a little?
Yeah, it's just like my stream's like a little blurry. And like the white's not helping me any.
No.
I will trust your judgment. If you say that's slightly thicker than your colors.
Can I see yours again?
Yes. So here's my white base. And then I'll show you my color.
Okay, yeah. My white base looks like yours. It's holding its shape a little bit when it goes up, and yeah, the colors are looking that thin as well. Cool.
Sweet. All right. So we got our dye, we got our colors, and here comes the potentially messy point. We got to get our colors into our bottles. It's going to be easier for you because you're working with plastic cups, right?
Yeah.
So you can kind of like pinch and pour.
Yeah.
I also recommend, like, if you are really concerned, get a funnel, maybe. You could funnel your colors in. It gets a little annoying because you got to like rinse the funnel every time. After a while, you'll get good and you won't mess up as much. And I usually like to do this by the sink, but I don't want to like get up and do this all. I'm going to try to, it's either going to be really good or I'm usually pretty good at it. So
I'm going to put my white base in first because why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
So yeah, this might be a benefit of plastic cups too. You know, you can kind of pinch and pour. Nice. He's a professional, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, this is a really wide mouth compared to the other ones. So.
True, yeah.
Well,
And then I would recommend scrape the sides, get every last little bit in there. I don't want to waste any. So I guess I'll do my white one too. And I've got like a little bit extra in my bottle here. Like you can usually just like incorporate the last little bit in there if it's not too much. Stir it up. Oh, that's another thing now that I'm thinking. If you have leftover dye in the bottom and you want to make a new batch, you can incorporate your old dye into your new lotion as a, cost-saving measure. You don't always have to dump it down the drain and start fresh.
Gotcha.
So, okay, let's see if I can. There we go. Got our base in. Oop. All right, get our colors in our bottle. This is Caribbean.
Yeah, the mouth on this one is slightly smaller.
Yeah, if you got to use a funnel, no shame in that.
I think we're good. So, yeah, that's probably about like 8.5, 9 ounces, and I still have a little left in the cup.
Perfect. That'll be more than enough. It's like when you're mixing this stuff too, like I said, you want to try to mix for the amount that you're making. And if you're trying to like get that exact, I always recommend making more is better than not making enough. So it's better to overshoot it than undershoot it, and then you got to go back. you got to mix more dye. It's annoying.
So we made this giant tub of our initial mix. Do you save that and reuse it when you make these individual mixes?
Yes. So what I will do is I will take the pre-mix and I will take a funnel and put it back into the Queen Helene bottle and then just write like mix on the bottle. So you know that one has been pre-mixed.
Gotcha. There's a lot of mixing in this.
It's like I use a lot of cooking terminology, and it really does it feel kind of like you're cooking.
It does. But we need like the TV magic, and like here it is, done.
Yep.
And we just pull it out of the oven.
Yep. And you like the Emerald setup, the Emerald Studio. That's kind of what you're working with. Got an Emerald Studio there.
All right.
So I've got all my stuff. I'm gonna pour this in. So I've got my colors. I've got my my white base. I'm gonna take my glasses to the kitchen and kind of clear the area here. This is another thing I recommend. It's another cooking term that I learned like working in restaurants. I think it's a French term called mise en place, something like that. Some people work well with a messy workspace, but I recommend like when you get done mixing and you're ready to execute your dye, like clear your shit out, you know, or put your dyes where you want them and have a clean working space. It's going to make things easier when, you know, you're in the beginning stages of your dye career.
Yeah. And I think the mise en place means like everything in its place.
Yep. Everything in its place.
Are we done with the giant vat of mix?
Yes.
All right. Well, I'll do that later. I'll put it away, but
you just put it to the side somewhere. I mix everything, then I clean everything, then I set everything up, and then I dye. So it's like I don't have this thought in the back of my head where it's like, oh, you know, it's like when you cook a meal and then you finish it and then you got all the dirty dishes in the sink and you're like, shit, like it almost makes the meal not as good.
Yeah.
All right. So here is another, this is like an optional tool. I'm big on, you know, like I don't want to waste anything. So a big thing I see people wasting is like their glue medium. And we don't want to add too little to our pan, you know, to the point where our disc bottoms out and doesn't have enough room to sit in the bed comfortably. And we also don't want to add too much to the point where we're wasting glue, because with this, you know, glue is our most important resource outside of lotion cost-wise for this. So what I like to do is measure out my glue per bed. And what I found with the Discraft... Go again?
Now you measure something.
Yes, yeah, because I measure the glue out because when I was starting out, I was just like yeeting the glue like into the pan and just like I go through more glue than anything else, and it's very expensive. And then you got to make another trip to the store or make another Amazon order. So I do like to measure out my glue. So for the Discraft Ultra Star, what I've found, I go 300 milliliters. This is actually probably a little over what I need, but I would rather go over on this than under, and then have my disc bottom out and hit the bottom of my pan, which is going to ruin the entire thing.
I think it's about 10 ounces, give or take. 10 ounces.
Say that again.
So 300 milliliters is about 9 or 10 ounces. I
don't know.
Well, I was looking at the side of my thingamabobber, and I was like, okay, that's about what that is.
Gotcha. Okay, so, yep. That's what Dave says. That's what it is. 9 or 10 ounces. And like for a cake pan, it's going to be different. For Dave's Frisbee, it's going to be a little different. Like I said, this is optional. Just make sure you add enough so your disc doesn't bottom out. And also remember, we're going to be laying colors on top of this glue too, which is going to add to the end volume. So it's another learning process thing that you'll figure out in the long run. I also think that this kind of creates less air bubbles too. Like adding the glue to the measuring cup first.
Interesting. I thought it would add more because you're moving it from one container to another. But
maybe. But yeah, I add it to that. And then add it to my pan.
And what I like to do is when I do my clear glue beds is I like to pour it as close to the bed as possible, like you're pouring a beer, to reduce any air bubbles if you can.
And that's kind of what I did with my measuring cup. You know, you pour it as close to the side as possible. And like you're gonna see like some little bubbles in there, but again, like we're gonna be adding lotion on top of that. Some people meticulously go around and pop everything with a toothpick or hit it with a torch. I personally never do that.
I was gonna say, if you're doing like a straight up clear glue bed, I would, but not putting stuff on top of it, so it really doesn't matter.
Yep, I wouldn't worry about it at this point. So once you got it in the pan, give it a little twirl, even it out. So you get a nice flat layer of glue. All right, Dave, you ready to do this?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be. You know, I am honestly slightly nervous, but I don't know why, because I gotta tell myself what I tell everybody else and just do it, because your first time may not be the best, but you still just have to do it.
Yep. Amen, brother. So white, our base first, our white bottle, and our goal is to cover this entire bed. So we're just going to work. I mean, you can do it any way you want to do it. I go left to right, up and down. I've seen people go top to bottom, left to right, whatever feels comfortable for you, but I'll show you how I do it first. We're just going to start on the far edge. And if you go over the bed, you make a little mess, don't worry about it. All right. Boom.
All right.
Step one complete.
My turn.
Now, Dave, it is your turn.
All right. Oh, God. Like, how important is it to get every nook, crack, and...
So we're going to be laying lines on top of this, so just try to get it as covered as you can.
Wow.
You think you got enough lotion in that bottle?
Yeah.
Just keep going. And then you can come back and kind of fill in those cracks.
You make it look way easier than what it seems like. Like, you made it all nice and like either my nozzle is thinner than yours or something, or that's wild.
It very well could be. And I have done this like 3,000 times.
Like just the motion of getting it straight and wow. All right. 'Cause I feel like I have a lot of tiny little cracks.
Oh, I got a cat on the table. Hold up. Keep going, Dave. Come here, Rachel. Say hi to everybody. Here, Rachel's on the table.
Rachel.
All right.
All right, how are we looking?
We're looking like this. I feel like it, like here is more raised and bumpy than the center, because when I was going back and forth, there's more material around the edges versus the center.
Okay. Do you still have any left in the bottle?
I do.
Try to fill in some of the bigger gaps. Excuse me. Yep. And I mean, your white dye could, or white. I keep saying white dye, kind of as a joke. Your base liquid could have been maybe a little too thick. If the thicker it gets, like, I don't know, like when you get it to the right consistency, mine kind of like spreads out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're fine though.
It's hard to show, but it's not like settling as much as I thought, and there's still ridges. It's not like flat.
It might have been a little too thick.
Okay.
Possibly.
Well, we'll still go with it.
We'll still go with it. And I mean, if it ends up being a little too thick, you know, it's a learning process.
Yeah.
But okay, let's go in with our colors. Let's take. I mean, you can pick whatever one you want. You can watch me. So we're just go. There's not a real. Okay, so there is a method to the madness, but it's hard to explain. Like, I don't really count the number of lines. You don't really have to. Okay, I'm just going to do it. This is usually what I do. Like, you can make more, you know, up and down movements. That's usually what I shoot for on my first pass. So that's my first pass with my first color. And then for my second color, what I try to do is I don't want my second color to be right on top of these lines. I want to try to get it in the negative space because I don't want them stacked up on top of each other. It's a little hard to explain, and it's not always exact, but I'm shooting for my next lines to get in this white area of each line. And yeah, as you can see, I hit my lines pretty decently here. Again, like you don't have to. This isn't like you don't have to get it exactly like this, but this is what I'm thinking in my head when I'm making my lines. Now, Dave, I think you should just let it. I think you should just let it rip.
All right.
Don't think you have to do it exactly like that. I don't want to put things in your head, but like,
So I want to take a picture of my bed before I do that.
Okay.
Just so I have a reference that we can look back on. Okay.
I think you should just go for it.
All right. It was the order of colors. Doesn't matter. Dark to light, light to dark. No, just send it.
You know, one color, next color, one color, next color. So
Okay.
Start with your first one.
I feel like before someone does this on a bed, they should do it somewhere else so they can kind of get the idea of the flow. Potentially.
That's not a bad idea.
But we're going to send it.
Send it.
All right. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus.
You got it.
The
big
squeeze consistency is interesting.
Yeah, like I almost like don't even squeeze my bottles. It's a very gentle.
Okay.
Because if it's super thin, and it's going to depend on your nozzle and your bottle as well, but like I barely even squeeze mine. It's like the lightest amount of pressure.
Gotcha. Do you think I need to do more, or should I try the other color?
Go in with the other color. The only thing I'll recommend is like in that first half, you had some lines that didn't quite reach the bottom. Yeah, just make sure you reach the bottom. If you go over, you go over.
Okay. It's like, I hate making messes, but
hey, that's what the towel's for.
See, like I'm not even squeezing, and it's like nothing really coming out. So
do you have like a really thin nozzle?
Probably. hard to
Okay.
see.
Yeah, like I have. I don't know if you can see on mine.
Yeah, yours is like I probably can cut mine. We'll try to do that.
Yeah, not too big, but yeah, maybe bigger than that.
Okay.
Learning on the fly.
That or my mix is just too thick.
Let's see.
Well, yeah, like interesting. I do have to squeeze, and it could be a bit thick. So
might be, yeah, it might. See, that's like the trouble with the video. It's a little hard to coach the consistency.
yeah.
Well, let's just keep going with it.
All right.
Go back to your first color, and we're gonna repeat those 2 lines again. So I'm gonna go another with my Caribbean. Okay.
I'm gonna cut the tip on this one.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. It could be a bit thick. Could be just the bottles.
Yeah. Yeah, your bright blue looks good. Cool. And another with your other color. And if you need to cut a bigger hole or something.
Yeah, I feel like
looks good.
I feel like it's not flowing consistency, and I like mid swipe squeeze a little bit harder, so the middle part got thicker of a line.
Okay. Well, just the learning process.
Yeah.
And so I like for my last line, see, I like to add like if I have too much color going on, I'll come in with my base one more time and just do a little bit more white to balance out the bed. So I end up with almost equal parts of white and the 2 blues.
Okay.
So I would recommend you do that as well.
All right.
Just do one pass with the white.
Okay. So this one, I feel like it's the bottle because this one seems to flow way better.
Yeah, I think it's your bottles, dude. Because when I see you doing that, it looks perfect.
Yeah, and it's like not even this. It's even a smaller opening. It's hard.
Okay, yeah. I don't know because you seemed very confident with your consistencies.
Yeah, I feel like the small bottle, there's more suction and vacuum on there.
Okay.
This one, there's just like a larger space and it's easier to flow out. And I've noticed that, side note, with the little acetone bottles that I got, because I tried dropper bottles of various sizes and I found the smaller ones work better because they hold the dye in the bottle when you tip it upside down more.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
yeah, which is important. Yeah.
So the bigger bottles may help flow better for this, actually. So
gotcha. What I'll do is I'll try to find exactly. I think some of these might still have like UPC label. Yeah, they do. I will send you the information on these bottles and we'll try to get you the exact ones.
Yeah, I would say bigger than 8 ounces would be helpful.
Smart. Yeah, and these are 12, and then I've got like the exact brand and UPC on the bottom. So, all right. Do you have another towel on hand? Usually, like, I'll take like another towel and just kind of clean up my area. Just so when we make our lines, we're not dragging our hand through that excess dye.
I feel like you made it a little bit cleaner than I did.
Again, well, first try versus 1,000th try.
I splooged everywhere.
I almost like I wanted to do like I want to see if I can do it blindfolded.
Jeez.
Or on the back of a track or a trailer.
Yeah, it's if you're doing this for the first time, it's a messy process.
Yeah.
Good enough. All right.
All right. Now we're gonna make the lazy wave. Again, like this is all personal preference. You can make fatter waves, thinner waves, but I'll show you how I usually do it. And then like you can make steeper curves. This is the foundation for multiple designs that I do. Like this exact layout can create a bunch of different stuff. But for this video, we're doing the traditional lazy wave, the first one that I came up with. So we're just going to start at the bottom, and it's just going to be boop, boop, like one wave across. So we're going to go up a little bit, down a little bit, back up, back down. Oh, also, you're going to want to get a towel, fold it up, and put it beside your bed because you're going to want to wipe off your dragging tool after every swipe. So we got our towel over here. So I'll do one more, and then do you want me to do the whole thing and then you do it, Dave, or you're going to do it along with me?
Yeah, I'll let you do the whole thing so I can watch you.
All right. So we're going up, I don't know, maybe like half an inch or something. Again, you can make it thinner. You can make it thicker. I'm just trying to recreate that same line. Do it very gently.
I feel like you're very good at consistent spacing.
Practice makes perfect. I didn't always, if you look at some of my earlier work, the lazy wave's gone through multiple different kind of phases. I used to have bigger peaks and like a really big peak at the end with the sharp drop off, and the spacing wasn't as good. It's just another one of those things. Practice makes perfect, and perfect is not always the goal. You know, it's just if you make a cool die, you make a cool die. If it's not spaced right, like who really cares?
This is very true. Have you ever tried using a square bed, then having a rake to make all the lines at once?
So I have not tried that, and I can't count how many times people have either asked that or recommended that or showed me a video of like a paper marbling process where they do use rakes like that.
Mhm.
And I could try that, and it does sound interesting, but like I always say, my goal is not symmetry. You know, I like to say like every lazy wave's like a snowflake. They're all like a little different. And I think if it was perfectly symmetrical, it would almost look like manufactured to a point. So I like to do it this way and keep it organic, like you said.
Well, if you are interested in using some sort of rake, I do have, I meant it for like flow troll rake where you can actually rake it or dip it to make the cells.
Yeah.
But I've been watching a lot of the paper marbling that people use this. You can get some really interesting, unique patterns with this, not just like a lazy wave, but if you go back and forth with it, you can get some really interesting stuff that I would be curious to try to mimic with. But
might have to try it.
But for today, we're going to do it how you do it, and we'll see how it goes.
All right, let's see.
I feel like I'm going to make more of a wave. It's going to be more of an amplitude and maybe frequency.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Different kinds of waves.
The hard part, I feel like, is mimicking what you already did.
Yeah, and That's not always what it's about. Like, can make your own designs. I do like how your waves are um they're not blocky. They've got a nice curve to them, which tells me I think your consistency was on point.
What happened?
Well, we were thinking it wasn't, but
Hmm.
I think we were saying like the bottles might have been the issue there.
Oh, there's.
I,
I mean, there. I feel like there's still some ridges, but I feel also like letting it sit here for a while helped. The question I have for you is, when you put your device into the bed, do you like go all the way to the bottom and have it touch the bottom of the bed, or do you have it like somewhat halfway up so it's not fully touching the bed? Or
like halfway or toward like all the way to the bottom. You don't want it to be like too close to the top, because sometimes when you're going left to right, if it's too close to the top, it'll pop out of the bed. So I would say halfway to all the way down. It
I
doesn't
feel
really
like
make a difference as long as it's not too close to the top.
yeah, I feel like scraping the bottom's easier for me because then I know.
Yes, yeah.
Because yeah, I feel like even with like a straight up clear glue bed, if you don't go all the way down and it's on the surface, you're not necessarily dragging the material as much as you should be.
I think yeah, closer to the bottom is going to work good for you. And your waves look great.
What I'm somewhat fascinated because when you see the waves, you think you put it each color in its unique line, and it doesn't look like the colors overlapped. If that makes
Hmm.
sense.
Yeah. Before I like disclosed how this bed was made and laid out, it was funny, seeing like people try to piece together in their head how it was made. Like, are you doing like each one of those little lines individually? Like that was like a
Yeah.
common thing I would see.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely not like manufactured consistent, and I can see how having a larger bed to choose an area from helps.
Yes.
Okay.
Dave, it looks great.
I like my tight weaves.
Yeah. Um Yeah, I think it looks great. The last thing I usually do, I mean, when I started off doing the lazy wave, I would just put the disc in like this. But now, like a year or two into making the lazy wave, I like rotating the bed just ever so slightly, so it's like a diagonal kind of look. But again, like you or anyone else, you could put it vertical, you could flip it around more, like you could do it straight horizontal, you could do whatever you like. But for me, with my traditional lazy wave, I like tilting it from horizontal just a little bit like that. And then I like dipping my bottom right edge in this bottom right corner. Um, and then you always want to make sure when you're dipping your disc, you want to do it end to end. So let me switch my camera here. You want to do it, you don't want to go straight down with it. You want to kind of lay it in end to end. So
So
I'll
before
do
you put
that
the disc
here.
in, there's a few
Oh,
things that I want to mention.
yeah.
One, did we clean the disc?
I cleaned my disc. Did you clean your
Okay.
disc?
I did not clean my disc. So I'm going to do that right now. And what I like to do with cleaning my disc is paper towel and just a smidge of isopropyl alcohol.
Oh,
You can use soap and water or whatever your preference is. You just want to light, especially if it's a used disc, you want to get any dirt and grime off. But um,
oh,
during the manufacturing process, there is a release agent, uh, most likely that the dye doesn't like to permeate. So just giving it a quick wipe down. Isopropyl alcohol 95% of the time won't mess with your stamp. unless you like start really, really scrubbing.
Yeah.
And that's all you really need to do is just give it a good wipe down. And if you are cautious about using isopropyl alcohol, you can just use soap and water.
Yep. So I usually do soap and water with a magic eraser. It's a little more labor intensive, and honestly, after seeing you do that, I might switch to that.
So the thing with the magic eraser is if you scrub too hard, you can remove the stamp as well.
Yes. I've found kind of like the magic pressure to be able to clean without scraping. So
The magic pressure for the magic eraser.
correct.
And we
All
are
right, and
both
yeah, so
using the same disc as well. So we'll compare notes after we're done.
correct. And yeah, white premium plastic, in my opinion, is the best plastic you can use for dyeing. Other than clear plastic can work, premium glow can work, but if you want to see what these blues look like, you want a white canvas. So when you're starting out, I recommend like getting some white plastic. And let's do this. We're gonna dip it in. Again, I like doing it in the bottom right corner here usually, and you just kind of gently set it in. And what I always say with the glue, and if you with having the glue bed, and then if your lotion consistency is thin and correct, you don't need to apply any pressure with this. I highly advise against using any pressure with this particular method and the correct consistency. Once you lay the disc in, it'll just sink into place with zero pressure. So,
Right on.
let's see if yours does.
So I just want to note that I do see some air bubbles on parts of the bed.
Okay.
Is that going to affect anything?
Air bubbles, or are we talking like ridges, like I was talking earlier?
So there are actual bubbles that haven't popped that are kind of like making it going above the surface.
No, like it'll usually make like it'll make like a colored bubble, if that makes any sense. Like I could probably show you some examples, but no, like I wouldn't worry about popping them.
Okay.
And even
Okay.
if it is like, even if it does create like a little tiny white air bubble, it doesn't need to be, perfect. I think you're gonna be fine.
Okay. All right. Just looking, I think I'm going to go. So it's going to be like this, but flipped that way.
That's it. Okay.
And I'm going to go like this. And I'm going to put the bottom down slightly first. I'm going to go nice and slow. There we go.
Awesome. Now, do you see it like sinking into the bed at all, or is it just kind of sitting on top?
Yeah, it's sunk down. It's not like to the rim, but it's got all the flight plate covered. So
Sweet. Once we get our disc into the bed, we're going to apply heat, which I usually use a dehydrator. And I think, Dave, is that what you're using as well?
yep.
So what I recommend as far as settings on my dehydrator, I go 120 degrees for 2 hours. You could also use a heat lamp. I don't really have experience with using a heat lamp, but I would guess the same time and temperature, 120 for 2 hours.
So when you first did this, did you use heat?
I did not. I was letting these sit, I believe, for 8 to 12 hours
Okay.
at room temperature. Room temperature meaning like 70-ish degrees. If you're doing this method like outside in like a cold garage or a cold basement where it's, maybe 50 degrees, I would recommend at least like 65, 70 degrees room temperature, 8 to 12 hours.
Have you noticed a difference with using heat and without using heat versus as far as saturation and I guess considered sharpness?
Absolutely. The first time I ever used heat was actually with Austin at a Dyers Guild event in Texas. And the first time I used it, it was like, I'm never doing this room temperature again. You can, though, but there was a definite increase in saturation, especially for lighter shades like Caribbean blue, which a
Mm,
lot of people struggle with vibrancy with that particular shade. Um, Room temperature absolutely will work. I don't want to act like that's not a viable option because I did it for years, in which I do recommend 8 to 12 hours. But if you have access to a heat source, absolutely recommend it for that situation, for the increased saturation.
yeah.
And it's a shorter sit time. You can do 5 to 7 of them in 2 hours instead of letting them sit overnight. It's a decrease in time as well.
So what made you choose 2 hours and not more or less?
So actually, the first one I did with Austin, I did. It was 1 hour at 130. It was whatever your temperature you guys do for glue bids, which
Mm,
I believe is 130. I did an ESP Luna for 1 hour, and I pulled it out and I looked at it and I was like, I think this is like halfway there. So I
mm,
doubled the time, and when that one came out, I said that was perfect. Um, Going any longer than that, I feel like you risk oversaturating as well as torching. Like I feel like the liquid would get too hot at 3 hours.
mm.
It's kind of one of those Goldilocks zones, trial and error. Like 1 hour wasn't enough, 2 hours was enough, 3 hours is probably too much.
Gotcha. Is there any concern or issue that when you're transporting your bed to the heat source of trying not to move it or bump it, or is it pretty set in place?
It's pretty set in place. You would have to really you'd have to really kind of jolt it for an issue to arise. I don't I don't have much experience with that because my dehydrator is like literally right next to me.
Yeah,
But exercise caution. If you move a little bit, I don't think it's going to ruin it. But definitely don't be skipping your way to the dehydrator. To
yeah.
exercise caution, but don't get too stressed out.
So I just thought of some more questions on the bed specifically. So we laid down the clear glue, then the base lotion, then the color on top. Have you ever run into an issue where you have like a really domey disc and the top part of the dome kind of bottoms out into the clear glue part?
So that hasn't happened to me, but that was I was trying to cover that when we were talking about the amount of glue to add to your base. That's
Mhm.
definitely a concern. Um, the domier the disc, you want to really make sure you have enough base to, you know, um, you want to make sure you have enough base so you're not bottoming out. So yeah, domier disc, maybe add a little bit more glue. Um, but yeah, it's definitely something to think about.
So not necessarily the glue and the disc touching the bottom of the physical bed, but the disc pushing through the colored lotion that part doesn't get any color.
Oh, I did not think of that. That hasn't happened to me.
Okay.
I, when you talked about dipping discs in a glue bed, you were talking didn't you drop one in, pick it up, and put it back down, and it was fine?
Yeah.
I think that almost that kind of applies to this as well. Like if a dome pushed down, like it's going to take that color with it rather than pushing through the layer.
Gotcha.
That's just
Okay.
my estimate. That's just my thought.
Yeah. No, I was curious if you ran into that, but if you haven't, it doesn't seem like to be an issue. And yeah,
Not
it's
yet.
the lotion. The clear glue, it's basically glue, so it sandwiches the dye between the disc and the glue. So the
Yeah.
lotion, it's a little bit more not as tacky, or won't necessarily glue into place as clear glue would. So that's why I asked. But okay,
Yeah, yeah, I could definitely. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
cool. Well, I'm very curious to see how this is going to turn out. We'll come back some point later and we'll discuss our findings, but we'll
Yep.
let it sit. And yeah, I guess, do you have any other closing remarks before we put this in the heat?
No, I mean, if you are curious about doing this, just literally just go for it. If you got the money to buy the supplies, you got the dyes on hand, just go for it. I have a handful of tutorials on YouTube that you can kind of follow. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook. I offer a subscription tier now where you can subscribe and literally ask me any amount of questions about any kind of dye method that I practice, and you can include pictures of failed results. And if you subscribe to one of these tiers, I can get you from down here to up here. Um, as to the best of my ability, I've done it with dozens, if not hundreds, of people over the last 5 years. Um, beds with bleeds and cell dyes that don't pop. I can get you to like a successful level of dyeing if that's what you're interested in.
Yeah, so definitely go check out him. You can definitely Google it, but it's Instagram at Dyes by Red, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Also, Facebook and Instagram are where I'm going to have my subscription tiers, and then I'm also on TikTok as well, and
Nice.
YouTube for the videos.
And I'll try to put links to everything in the description of wherever you're hearing or watching this. And Mr. Red is also an affiliate of the Dyers Guild. So if you need any supplies, use that affiliate link. You get a little kickback. And yeah, we have kits if you want to start to get disc dyeing and doing what we did today. Or we can get you the specific supplies and or trying out new colors with our sample packs. And we have a bunch of tutorials as well. I know I have Mr. Red's tutorials on the site, so you can filter by that. But yeah, I'm really excited and curious to see how this turned out.
As am I. And I'm grateful that you had me on here. This has been a lot of fun, and yeah, I'm very excited to see how yours turns out.
Yeah, and again, we'll probably come back and I'll cut to it. But if you like this format, leave a comment saying that, hey, you like this. I know it's a longer format, but it is a lot more detailed. That answers probably a lot more questions than some other tutorial videos. And I try to ask questions that I have or you guys may have along the way. So I hope you enjoyed this. And again, if you do, leave a comment, because I do have more of these planned with other various dyers and their specific techniques. And if there's a dyer that you want to learn to do a specific technique that they do, let me know, and I'll try to bug them to see if they want to come on.
Absolutely. Can't wait to
All right.
see.
Yeah. Well, I will see you in a little bit. I just pulled this bed from the dehydrator that's been sitting in there for 2 hours at about 125 degrees Fahrenheit. I am super excited, and you're going to see it before I do, actually. And let's reveal, and hopefully it worked out, and we'll also compare Mr. Red's version later on in this video as well. Without further ado, let's see if we can get out of the bed. Ooh. And I got just a regular squeegee here. Oh, sick. Heck to the yeah. Look at that. I bet it's upside down, but I think Mr. Red is a very good teacher, and that the consistency matters a lot. Let me go get this rinsed off, and I'll show you what the finish just looks like. All right, I'm honestly extremely happy. I'll put some pictures of the close-ups of it, but I don't think it was going to turn out this good, and it turned out amazing. I am super impressed The lines are really crisp, nice and sharp. I mean, there's a few tiny air bubbles, but this is probably the best. I was always not happy with lotion beds in general. And besides the lazy wave, I think if you do any type of lotion stuff, this consistency right here, that's going to be muddy. Holy cows. I am super, super thrilled with that. Well, that again, I will get better close-up photos. I don't know how close I can get with this, but look how crisp that is. So good. So good. Look at that. Heck to the yeah. Let's go. You guys saw what the disc looked like as I cleaned it and rinsed it off and showed you guys. But Mr. Red, he didn't see it. So this is going to be his reaction. So how do you think it turned out?
I have good expectations.
That's good.
I have good. I think it's going to look good. I have high hopes and good expectations.
So who should reveal theirs first? Me or you?
What do you think, Dave? Alex says me.
Yeah, we'll do you. Let's see what you got. What'd you come up with?
Okay. So here's mine. Oh.
All right. All right.
I think it came out exactly how I'm usually striving for.
Yeah.
There's not really any bleeds. We've got clean lines. Let's see, try to get this glare out of the way. Not many bleeds, if any. We got clean lines. We've got distinguished curved waves. And yeah, this is usually what I am looking for when it comes to the lazy wave.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Turned out really good.
And that the white neutron plastic, if you have any doubts, this is the goat of all plastics. You know, this is the best. There, an argument could maybe be made for another plastic, but this is the best.
Yeah, no, I really like it. And I won't go down the tangent of now they have white rims. So yeah.
Yeah, well, you don't have to go on a tangent, but yay or nay? Yay with a butt.
Like I said, don't get me started.
Okay, we'll save that for after the show, maybe.
Okay, are you ready?
I am ready.
And here it is.
Whoa!
I'll pull it up here.
Yeah, dude. Alex, what do you think?
I approve.
Alex approves. Yes, dude. Yes. Let me enlarge this on my phone.
It's very beautiful.
Bro. Yes. Minimal, if any, bleeds. Perfect saturation, especially with the Caribbean blue, which is usually pretty dull in a lot of instances. It's really popping. We don't really see any air bubbles at all, like maybe a little one here and there, but there's no air pockets, no white blobs. That's a solid lazy wave right there.
Yeah, no, honestly, you'll see in the video of me actually cleaning it off. I'm like, holy shit, this is I'm honestly really impressed because my past experience with lotion beds in general, of anything, were not very good. But
Yeah,
like the lines, they are crisp, and you know how to do it well. As far as like the lines going horizontal, yours are more consistent. Mine are not as consistent, but again, practice
that'll come, you know.
Yeah. So mine, it the pattern feels squiggly. Yours feels organized. But yeah.
I when it comes to this dye method, I feel like the biggest learning curve is the mixing and the final result of the bed. So you got that down, the spacing and how you want to organize it. Like, I feel like that's an easier aspect of it. So, like, in this respect, you got the difficult part down solid, and now you would just have to tweak it as far as, the spacing and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, I just attribute this to a good teacher.
Hey, thank you, Dave. I appreciate, and thanks again for giving me the opportunity, because I've played this out in my head a lot, and I've never had the opportunity to do this with someone. So this was really cool, and I'm really happy to see your results.
Yeah, I'm like really ecstatic on it. Like, I mean, I could nitpick small things if I had to.
Which you could do with virtually any method or any dye that you do. So that's normal.
One thing that I think was my fault while cleaning, which I didn't think so. I don't know if I could show you. I can get it to
Is
focus.
there like some haziness or?
Yeah, it's like a little
Yep.
in the white area. There's a little hazy blue. Like when I was cleaning it, it sat on there for a while. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, that's.
But I'm again. I see it might be 2-pin air bubbles, but other than that, I'm like really impressed with how sharp this is. Like really, really defined lines, and it. I may do that. It's a lot of work, but I may do some more of these. What I really want to do is different patterns with the rake to do that paper marbling, because there's some pretty cool stuff with that.
Absolutely, yeah. Like in the rectangular pan, and like I always try to say, the possibilities are endless. With this method, I get kind of locked in my ways to a certain point, because I'm always doing commissions, and like I just want commissions to come out exactly how they're intended, and it's a little harder to take risks, and that's kind of why I want like these tutorials to go well, so other people can come up with their ideas and just come up with other possibilities. And but it all starts with the mixing, which we've demonstrated. It can be taught, which is good.
Absolutely. And yeah, I feel like the consistency is probably one of the biggest things. And I know we'll work on some testing methods so you can objectively test the viscosity with stuff that you have at your house.
Yeah.
You don't need like a special viscosity cup or stuff like that to better help you get this viscosity, because it is hard to describe. You can compare it to other things, which gets it close, but it's still hard to explain what that viscosity is.
You've got to see it to believe it.
Yeah.
And it's a hard thing to verbally describe, or
It's like pudding.
It's what Alex said. It's like pudding, and Dave actually said it's a little thinner than pudding.
Yeah. Exactly.
But like pudding might mean different things to different people, and Dave, like you said, like having a test that people can do at home to definitively see this is the viscosity that you're looking for, this is the consistency you're looking for, would help everybody.
Yeah. So I'm hoping this video helped you guys. Again, I know it's a little bit of a longer format, but we went into a lot of detail, which it's good to have in those videos to, just sit down and study. And if you do a lazy wave or a lotion dye using this mixture technique, take us both. We would love to see what you create. And if you find anything else out in your own testing, let us know. Because again, this dyeing is still pretty young, and there's a lot of things that can be tested and done. So yeah. And Austin, you need to come over to the compound so we can do some of our own testing.
It's in the plans, Alex, right?
Yeah.
It is in the plans.
And again, people can find you on Instagram, TikToks, YouTube, Facebooks, probably everything. If you just search Dyers by Red, you can find it. And if for whatever reason you can't follow this video or you just want one-on-one person training with him, he is more than welcome to help you out.
Yep. Just shoot me a DM on any platform and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, going to wrap up this video. And again, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. And if there's any other dyers you'd like to see on this video, this type of video, let us know. I know I have one more in the works right now. And yeah, until next time, guys, find your line, craft your piece. Bye.
Peace.